Oh man, didn't I call it at the end of my GTA 6 leak video that this was going to happen? I'm pretty sure I did. Man, what I would give for the opportunity to trade in my ability to make predictions off of people's bad OPSEC for the ability to predict lotto numbers or stock picks or, something that would actually make me a lot of money. So to catch you guys up to speed, the hacker known as Teapot, who was responsible for hacking Uber and Rockstar Games, was arrested on Thursday, September 22nd in Oxfordshire, UK. He could have taken his car to the pay and spray or called Lester to just remove his wanted level, but instead, homie had the 6 stars and ended up getting busted. Now, it turns out that Oxfordshire is the same exact city that was on his Doxbin page, which Pom dropped on Breached about a week ago, around the time that the GTA 6 leak happened. And before we go any further, even though I'm not going to show you guys the details of his docs, some of you watching have 3-digit IQs, and so I'm sure you can probably find it for yourselves. So I'm just going to ask that you don't use his docs to troll or harass or do anything malicious, especially because Teapot's family had absolutely nothing to do with his hacking career, all right? They've suffered enough with having their son put behind bars and their house raided by UK police and stuff like that. Teapot himself, he's in custody, so you can't prank call him, you can't mess with him or anything like that. So don't go and be assholes with his docs. Anyway, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to go over some of the OPSEC mistakes that I've identified in Teapot's career. So why don't we start with him getting doxxed in the first place, because that's probably one of the biggest issues right there, right? I mean, if I knew, somebody like me knew this guy's real name and where he lived for the past week, then the police definitely did. In fact, the kid was already arrested last spring for other hacking attacks. So the cops literally already knew about this kid. They didn't even have to check the docs. They probably just heard about the GTA 6 hack news and said, oh, that sounds like that kid we arrested last spring. Let's take a stop by his house and see if he's following the conditions of his bail. And of course, if they're not, they could just go ahead and arrest you. So in Pom own words, the reason that he doxed Teapot was essentially revenge. So Teapot had DDoSed one of Pom's old websites, and he had tried to dox Pom. Now, assuming that all of these claims are true, which I think they do, I mean, the doxbin seemed pretty accurate to me, an attempt to dox a black hat hacker in a way can be looked at as more severe than just doxing a regular person, because think about it, a black hat hacker is a criminal. They're a cyber criminal. I don't know necessarily what Pom crimes are, if any. I mean, he is the lead administrator of breached forums, which, they leak a lot of sensitive information there. So if you did dox Pom then chances are that intel would be used by law enforcement agents to try and apprehend him and put him behind bars for any of the crimes that he may or may not have committed. So doxing a hacker is basically an attempt on their life, like you're trying to take away their life and their freedom. And based on my patent pending scale of assessing a hacker's skill levels by how kawaii their profile picture is, we can come to the conclusion that Pom is a guy you really don't want to mess with, since his character comes from Hello Kitty. And as I'm sure some of you know, Hello Kitty is a very serious anime. I don't know if there's any hackers out there with like Mao-chan or Noah Himasaka profile pictures. Maybe they would be more dangerous than Pom, but going against Pom in the hacking game, it's kind of like going against the Sinaloa cartel in the drug game. You're basically guaranteed to be destroyed if you do that. Now, as for other mistakes that Teapot made, looking through his docs, he apparently used services like Spotify, Discord, Gmail, Proton Mail. He had an iCloud account, he had a Twitter, an Instagram, a TikTok account, a Telegram, a Snapchat, and all sorts of other things. Now, I don't know if he was stupid enough to use some of those spookier services for his hacking activity. I do know for sure that he used Telegram and Proton Mail for the activities because he was trying to sell the GTA 6 leak or try to get a ransom from Rockstar Games through there. And my gut's also telling me he probably used Discord and maybe Snapchat for that, just because I know a lot of people who use those for, you know, questionable activities. And it's a really bad idea because the owners of Discord and the owners of Snapchat can see your stuff. Even though you think, oh, it's a disappearing message from Snapchat in 24 hours. No, they've got a copy of it on their servers. And even though Proton Mail is supposed to be lay heckin' private email service, we already know that it's bad for those sorts of activities. And Proton Mail shills can fuck off back to their subreddit if they don't like it. Proton Mail has cooperated with law enforcement in the past for people that use the service to perform illicit activities. None of the executives at Proton Mail, Tutanota, or any other supposedly private email service are going to fall on the sword for you when Interpol comes knocking. Telegram also isn't the best thing to use since it requires a phone number for you to set it up. Now, he did live in the UK, which as far as I know, it is possible to get prepaid anonymous SIM cards using cash and without giving your ID. I'll let my UK viewers confirm or rebuttal that in the comments below, but I'm pretty sure you can do that. So maybe his Telegram would have been a little bit safer based on that, but on Telegram, where he was advertising the leak and talking to people in the group chat, all of those messages that he sent would have been sent unencrypted, or at least not end-to-end encrypted. I believe that those chats are server-side encrypted within Telegram, but the point of that is you have to trust Telegram with those messages, and you have to trust Proton Mail with your emails as well, instead of like hosting things yourself. And if you control your own infrastructure, then you have a little bit more safety, assuming that you do things correctly. And he had plenty of money to do this, okay? He could have very easily paid to set up his own VPSs with cryptocurrency because he allegedly had made millions in crypto during the time that he was working with the Lapsus hacking gang. So his choice of social media was a pretty bad one. He had also made a lot of enemies, or at least one pretty big one, the boss of breached forums. He had terrible OPSEC. I mean, how else would he have had a multi-page, very detailed docs set up on the internet for anybody to look at? And the worst part of all of this is he started to get really, really silly with his most recent hacks against Uber and Rockstar Games, because looking into this guy's history, right, he was supposedly one of the leaders of Lapsus, or at least he worked with them, and he made millions of dollars doing so. This kid was a crypto multi-millionaire at age 16. If I was him, I would have probably swapped all of that Bitcoin into Monero in order to launder it and then move to one of the countries that don't have an extradition treaty with the United States, at least until the statute of limitations on my crimes had passed. I mean, it's not like he murdered somebody, he committed cybercrime. Pretty sure that those have a statute of limitations. But instead, Teapot wanted to be famous. And I guess he got that. I mean, even though we're probably all gonna forget about this in a few months, you know, he's got his couple of weeks of fame. And you know, it's not even like he hacked the government, because at least when you do that, at least when you hack the feds, there's a chance that the feds will hire you to become a hacker for them. But no, I mean, his biggest accomplishments are leaking video game footage for GTA 6 and hacking Uber, but he didn't even get any personal information from the Uber hack. So I doubt that his skills are going to be enough for him to become a glowy himself and, you know, get all of his charges dropped for that. So yeah, Teapot, he's in police custody. He pleaded guilty to his breach of bail conditions, and Well, yeah, he was already on bail for previous hacking. Not too knowledgeable on UK cybercrime laws, so no clue how much time he's going to get. But he is a minor, and he's also autistic, so perhaps that's going to help him get a more lenient sentence. I guess we'll just have to wait and see how it goes down. But I hope that this can be a good lesson to all of you to practice good OPSEC and don't just assume that you have good OPSEC. I mean, there's literally black hat hackers out here with multi-page doc spins on them with horrible OPSEC. So think about it, especially when you think you've done everything correctly. And especially if you're going to try and become lay epic black hat hacker man.